I love nostalgia. Obviously, this podcast has evolved into being basically all about nostalgia. But sometimes you should leave the memories alone when it comes to nostalgia. Not all of it is great, although this will be some funny stuff. As much as I love the classic video games, and I mean the good ones from Atari, Nintendo, Sega, Genesis, it's hard to deny that video games today, the quality is just light years ahead of what I grew up with as a kid. I don't really play video games anymore, so I'm sure there are some really terrible ones that have been released in the last few years. But here, don't knock the classics. So this week's top 5, we're going to look at the weirdest Atari games ever made. At first, I was going to do a segment that was just weirdest video games ever. And then when I looked at Atari and saw so many, I said I got to divide this up into different consoles. So at some point in the future, we'll do weirdest Nintendo games, weirdest Sega games. These games here, they're all from the Atari 2600, maybe some from the 5200. And these are really weird, and some are just hilarious that these got made, but it shows when video games were in their infancy, what people could get away with. As with most of these top 5 lists, they are in no particular order, and we've got some honorable mentions. And I'll say it again, these are all real games. So honorable mentions for weirdest Atari games ever made include Kool-Aid Man, which was about the mascot, Kool-Aid Man, trying to keep the thirsties from stealing water from his swimming pool. There was Red Sea Crossing. This was a religious Christian side-scrolling game where Moses parts the Red Sea and then he has to lead people through it with all these obstacles to get around. There was Pepsi Invaders, which was a takeoff on the Space Invaders game. This was a non-commissioned game given by the Coca-Cola company to their employees, so it's a bit of a cheat, but it's still a real game. There was Tax Avoiders, where the object is to help John Q collect income over a year and not pay taxes. And the final honorable mention was Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomatoes, which is about a tomato sprayer that has to fight off tomatoes that have come to life to kill people. Essentially, Atari couldn't get the licensing to Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, the movie, so they made this game. So those are the honorable mentions. Did you play any of those or hear of any of those? We're going to dial the weirdness up to 11 as we go into the actual top 5. And it can't get any weirder. Well, it can. But then number 1, Journey Escape.
It presents the world's first rock video game, Journey Escape. The concert's over. Now you must help each member of Journey escape through mobs of love-crazed groupies, shifty-eyed promoters.
Ooh, it sounds like a fighter game. You're out in space with spaceships trying to escape aliens. No, the Journey is not an actual journey. It's the band Journey. This game was released in 1982, and it stars the band Journey, and it's based around their album Escape, thus the name Journey Escape. The game starts off promising because it's got a clip of Journey's biggest hit ever, Don't Stop Believin'. But you don't play as the band. You play basically as a roadie that has to lead them past lovesick groupies, photographers, and promoters that are trying to steal their money. It's a scrolling game, but it goes top to bottom, and it just keeps going, but you can control the speed of the scroll. You can find gameplay of this on YouTube, and you can find cartridges for sale on eBay if you happen to have an Atari 2600 still. Journey is hardly the only musical act to have a video game based around it. There was Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, Aerosmith, Spice Girls, Wu-Tang Clan. They all had games based on them as well. But I think Journey was the first, and definitely not the best. Number 2 is Sneak and Peek. Now, Now, if this sounds like something that might be familiar to you, it's because it's a hide-and-seek video game. This is either one player against the computer or two players. And if it's two players, one of you has to close your eyes like in hide-and-seek while this person plays the game and finds a place to hide in this house. Think about other popular games that we played as kids, and then imagine them being made into video games you could play. Things like Tag, or Foursquare, or Marbles and Jacks. Those being made into video games, and then people actually buying them instead of just going outside and doing it. It reminds me of that Simpsons episode where Bart goes to a traveling carnival with the family, and he plays the virtual reality yard work simulator game, but he won't do yard work at home. If you're in the drinking game where I mention Simpsons or The Office quotes, then you might as well drink now. Sneak and Peek was another game released in 1982 for the Atari 2600. And reading some of the reviews, the pros say there's a lot of good places to hide. It's basically 3 rooms in a house, and you hide, and it's the blocky 8-bit graphic characters. And if you go to my old friends at retrogames.cz, which I'll link to in the podcast, you can play Sneak and Peek. Ooh, exciting. Number 3 is Bachelor Party. This game is also from 1982 for the Atari 2600. This game is listed as a pornographic video game. Yes, Atari made adult video games, and this is not a one-time thing with Bachelor Party. This is a genre on Atari. They have other adult games, including Beat 'em and Eat 'em, Burning Desire, and best of all, Philly Flasher / Cat House Blues. The gameplay of this, it's basically a simplified version of the game Breakout. The ball is made to look like a nude man, and the bricks you're supposed to hit are made to look like nude women. And the man bounces back and forth horizontally rather than vertically. The main premise of this game is that an unnamed bachelor is having his final fling in a room full of nude women. And the man is being propelled into the nude women repeatedly, with the player's paddle being a container of Spanish fly. It's unbelievable. You can find gameplay of this on YouTube. I don't know if you want to see this, because it even says when entering the fray, the bachelor's exaggerated and pixelated penis is seen to be erect. Jesus. I mean, I don't know what else to say about this game, except that you can go play it on retrogames.cz as well. Yeesh. Number 4 is Mangia. That's Italian for eat. This game is from 1983, and it's actually one of the rarest Atari video games there is, and also one of the weirdest. So you're this little boy sitting at a table, and the point of the game is that his mother is feeding him pasta, and he has to eat all this pasta, and his mother keeps bringing it to basically make his stomach explode. So your mother's trying to kill you with pasta, and the way you win is you've got to feed the pasta to the pets that are around you without your mother seeing it. I mean, who came up with that idea? We need a game about a mother trying to kill her child with food. It honestly sounds like a video game I would have tried to create when I was about 10 years old. If you get caught giving pasta to the pets, your mother brings 3 times as much the next time, and your stomach will explode into a mass of blue pixels. Oh my God. We'll end with something very different, but no less weird, with number 5, I Want My Mommy. No, this is not another adult game, some fetish. It was a game intended for children under the age of 9, and you play Teddy, a teddy bear, and you're climbing up. It's a little bit like the old Donkey Kong games. In level 1, you've got to get an apple, and then level 2, you've got to get to your mother. And if you pass both of those levels, you return to level 1, but it's harder. The best way to sum this game up is a review in the August-September 1983 issue of Video Games Player magazine, where they called the game great for little kids, bad for everyone else. The cover art of the game is this very sad-looking teddy bear. So I guess that's more of harmless weird. That'll wrap up the top 5. Had you heard of any of these games? Or are you going to go play them on retrogames.cz? If any of you play Bachelor Party, I mean, good luck with that.